All right, welcome back, Florida Football Insiders Podcast, part of the College Gridiron Coast to Coast Podcast Network. Our Halloween edition of the podcast this week. Hard to believe we are in week 10 of the college football season. We are at the start of November, Halloween. Be safe out there if you're listening to this before Thursday night. Don't do anything stupid. Don't be putting any nails in people's apples and all that good stuff. Our
The
host,
hell are you talking about?
yeah, that's right, man. Our guest for the week, JP Peterson, host of the JP Peterson Show, longtime media member here in the Tampa Bay area, all over the Southeast. Tallahassee guys, spent a lot of time all over the place, does a great job. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. FanStream Sports, his Twitter feed, all the good Facebook, everything you can, social media you can imagine. Welcome in, JP.
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me, man. I apologize that I'm driving and everything, but it's been a busy week. I'm going back and forth to Orlando. I got
Yep.
Lightning games. I got my show. It's been crazy. We got Bucks games. I worked about 15 days in a row. Nobody cares, but if you call it work, I mean, going to a Bucks game, going
That's
to a
right.
Lightning game, back to the Stamkos
We're gonna
reunion. I mean,
yeah.
it's been fun.
And JP's also the in-game, in-between periods host at Amalie Arena for all the Lightning home games. So if you're in Amalie Arena, you will see JP all over the place each and every home game between first and second and third periods, and a little post-game action as well, I'm sure. So, all right, let's start
So
there. Go ahead.
can you see my stash?
I saw that on social media.
My
Got your
porn.
little porn stash going there.
So this was to do we do an annual Halloween thing at Amalie Arena. So all the Greg Wolf dresses up. On most of us, we dress up in costumes. So this year they asked me to be Ron Burgundy. So I'm like, well, why would I not be Ron Burgundy? Of course I will. Yes. So
Attaboy.
I did the mustache thing and had this ridiculous wig on, and I stayed in character the entire time. And people, for whatever reason, it was so horrible, it was funny. It was so horrible, it was funny, and they loved it, and I had a blast doing it. So this thing won't live for long, but at least for now, you have to put up with it.
I was going to say the most important thing, how does the missus think of the mustache?
Allegedly, she likes it, but I don't know. I don't know. I think
She might just making you trying to make you feel good here for a week
exactly.
or so.
I think that's what's going on here. Yes, absolutely. Because seriously, I mean, I'm going to be arrested by midnight. Absolutely.
All right, let's
All
start
right,
right
so
there.
let's.
I know this is a Florida football podcast, but I want to start there. A lot of hockey fans in the state of Florida listening, Tampa people, all that good stuff. Give me the environment, what the environment was. Emily Steven Stamkos, longtime captain, Hall of Famer to be, legend in Tampa Bay, Stanley Cup winner. Give us a little atmosphere, what that was like with him coming back in the building as a Nashville Predator.
It was joyous. It was celebratory, but it was freaking weird. It was weird. It just didn't look right. Him in a Predators uniform. But it was great. I mean, my friends that I work with at Lightning Vision, my colleagues are just amazing at what they do. The tribute video was unbelievable. Just this collage of all the great moments from his drafting in '08 as the number one overall pick to the 60 goal season to the Stanley Cup, the goal in Dallas or
Right.
during COVID in the bubble against Dallas, the iconic moment, his signature moment, skating with the cup, just all of it. We relived it all in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. It was so funny because normally the first TV timeout is a time when the coaches really get the guys around. You've already kind of feeling out what the other coaches are doing, so it's a really big coaching moment in the game. And for this one, it was like first TV timeout, everybody's head just looked up. All the benches, there was no coaching going on. There was nothing like that going on. It was just everybody was watching the video. And then Stammer came out on the ice and kind of, just skated around by himself and put his stick up. And it probably lasted about a minute and a half, which is
Nice.
about a minute longer than any other, comeback player tribute video that we've seen.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. And later on, about 2 minutes later, the Lightning fans were chanting his name, Steven Stamkos.
Right.
And Never seen that done before for a quote opposing player. So it was pretty phenomenal. It was surreal in a lot of ways. But the best part about it was Stammer had a good night, had a couple of assists, almost won the game in overtime, but the Lightning came back and won it in overtime. So everybody was happy. A perfect script or a perfect night.
Yeah, that's great. Again, this guy was a fixture in the community for 16, 17 years. 18-year-old kid got drafted, been in this franchise for so long. So, yeah, just a great night all around Amalie Arena. Too bad that he didn't finish his career here. But again, the wounded feelings will get healed in due time, and there'll be another huge celebration when he retires and goes into the Hall of Fame. So, all right, I want to go on the opposite side of this. Tragedy in the Tampa Bay area last week. This University of South Florida head coach, if you didn't know, Amir Abdur-Rahim, for those of you that don't know, passed away suddenly last week. Was having a medical procedure done and had a blood clot during the procedure and passed away at 43 years old. You know him a little bit. You knew him. You covered the team last year, the great run they had to the NCAA tournament. Just give the audience a little perspective of what this guy did for this community and that program, not just basketball, but the entire USF athletics in such a short period of time, 1 year.
Well, Jason, I've been lucky enough and privileged enough to work with some really great coaches in my career, starting with Bobby Bowden and Tony Dungy, John Tortorella, John Cooper, Joe Madden, so many great ones. And, Amir was of that quality. And that's a hefty thing to say. That's a hefty thing to say. But when you met that gentleman, and his spirit's still alive, so we'll talk about it in the present tense. When you meet him, he was just one of those guys that you don't forget. He lights up a room. The charisma is off the charts, but it's authentic. It's not contrived in any way. He truly cared about his players. The way his players spoke about him spoke volumes about who he is. Anybody who came in contact with Amir, just you could not walk away without having your life be better.
Right.
Quite simply put, he's just one of those people. You don't meet him often, but when you meet him, you remember him. And you could just see that this guy was on a trajectory to be one of the great coaches in the game and have tremendous success. I mean, what he did at South Florida in a year is incomprehensible, honestly. To win their first conference championship, to almost make it to the tournament, and it's absolutely incomprehensible what he was able to do. And the future was so bright for this program and for this young coach. I met him, I met his children, his lovely wife, and it just breaks your freaking heart, man.
Yeah.
It
Terrible.
just breaks your freaking heart. Just such a good dude. Oh God. And so suddenly at age 43. So, it's on a personal level, it's just horrific for everyone who worked with him and his players and his beautiful wife and his 3 young kids. It's horrific. But from a sports perspective, this is one of those guys that comes through a program and changes the program forever. I'm not saying he would have been there forever, but a lot of people probably said that about Bobby Bowden too, right?
Right.
You just never know what the future holds. But this guy was special. He was different, and what a shame for him to be taken so soon.
It's such a goofy set of circumstances too. It's not like he had a health issue and all that. They were trying to fix it, and just for that to happen, how it happened in the basically in the hospital is just it's so sudden. It was just terrible. That's just terrible. It's terrible news for the university, for the community, and just obviously his family first and foremost, and just a big loss in the coaching world.
Yeah, and for a university that has really been on a roll, in their major programs and. Hopefully headed to a major conference. It's a gut punch, absolute gut punch.
All right, let's transition to the field. I know it's tough, but let's do that. Give me a thought about a former Florida Gator. Have you ever seen in your years covering 3 decades plus covering these sports? You ever seen a quarterback tap out of the freaking game? Are you kidding me, Anthony Richardson?
I'm just trying to wonder what's going through his mind at that point. Like, what are you doing? Like his coaches must have been like, what? Why is he tapping his helmet? Like, did nobody ever tell him that quarterbacks don't come out of the game? You don't tap out. If you can get hurt, you can lay down on the ground, but you don't tap out. I mean, and it's kind of like what you get when you draft a quarterback who started 7 games in college.
Right.
I mean, is extremely immature in terms of his football experience. And these are things, if you break it down to the basics, this is what, he doesn't know that he can't tap out as an NFL quarterback. Like, how does that even work?
And even worse, he admits it after in the post-game press conference and is joyous about it, basically saying, yeah, I needed a break.
I was tired. It just, I don't know. I don't, as an old head here, I don't want to play the generation card, but
you were a quarterback, man. You were a quarterback.
I didn't think I see Dan Marino tap it out. I don't think John Elway ever went, hey, I got to.
You ever see Charlie Ward tap out at Florida State? I mean,
no, but it's actually kind of comical when seeing. Now he lost his job. He's not starting this week, but
that's a problem for the Colts. That's going to be a tough one. It's forget the organization. How do you face your teammates in the locker room? That's from just a human level.
I mean, just like not. What does it tell you about his football IQ?
Right.
Like, we're not even talking about, how do you, transition reading the cover 3 to the cover 2 when they switch up in the middle of the. I mean, we're not talking about intricate stuff here. We're talking about, dude, you can't tap out as a quarterback. Like, I don't even think you ever go over that as a coach, do you? Is that ever on the checklist? Like, okay, make sure you know the snap count. Make sure you know on the, the blitz coming from the flying side. Right. Oh, and yeah, don't tap out. I mean, do you even go over that as a coach?
I don't remember Coach Bell never talking about that one in a meeting.
No, I don't think we ever got to that one. Bizarre. Just bizarre. That's right. Almost as bizarre as that knucklehead Bears defensive back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Who's playing to the crowd before the Hail Mary.
Unbelievable.
We're 4 seconds into the play, and he's still taunting the crowd.
Unbelievable.
My Lord.
Unbelievable. All right, let's get to the Florida-Georgia game. We're not allowed to say the cocktail party. Shh, don't say that. In Jacksonville.
No, we are.
Yeah, right. In Jacksonville, obviously Georgia coming in top 5. The Gators playing better, 4-3 out the bye week. Just give me a little thought on, one, just the rivalry in general. Do you like that they play in Jacksonville every year? A lot of history. Obviously, Spurrier dominated when he was there. Now Kirby's kind of dominating this series. Dynamic of 50% Florida fans, 50% Georgia. What do you think of that whole dynamic of them playing in Jacksonville every year?
I love it. It's one of the unique things in college football. I've covered the game many, many times. I went to the game one time as a fan. And it was, and of course, as a Seminole, I don't root for either one of these teams, but I had one of the best times of my life at that game. And just the spectacle, the different sides, the different sections. It's unlike any other game. I mean, you could say that the Red River rivalry. No, it's the Red River shootout. Oh my God, can we say that? Yes. Can we say largest outdoor cocktail party? Yes, we can. And nobody's going to die if we say those things. So yeah, it's unique. It's wonderful. Don't ever change it. It's beautiful. And I gotta give a huge shout out to Billy Napier, who was absolute Green Mile, dead man walking earlier in this season. He damn near beat Tennessee when they were ranked in the top 5. Should have won that game, actually.
How do you not go for 2 there? You got to go for 2 there at the end.
That's crazy. That's bananas. And so some of these are self-inflicted wounds. But, he said once they had that first bye week that they were going to get better, and he wasn't wrong.
Yep.
This Gator defense has completely turned it around. Whatever he did, give him full credit, completely turned around. They waxed Kentucky who has had their number the last couple of years, and Mark Stoops never gives up 48 points. They waxed Kentucky. I'm very impressed with this comeback. They beat the crap out of UCF.
Yep.
I'm impressed with what Napier has done. And, I was the one, a lot of, Gator fans have been going bananas, and I get it. So much of it looks so bad. The optics of the too many men not going for two. Like, his game management is just awful at so many levels. But you got to give the dude credit. I mean, he's sitting there. Who had Florida and Alabama tied at 2-2 in the conference record halfway through the season?
Right.
Who had that on their bingo card? Nobody. Right. Nobody. So I think Billy Napier deserves some credit here. And the Florida Gator players, especially the young freshmen, ass off. And he was smart enough to finally figure that out. Maybe Mike Norvell could learn a little something from Billy Napier. So I give him full credit for bringing this team back from the brink. And I think they just might make a bowl game, which to me, with this schedule, which I think is the hardest schedule I've ever seen in college football ever, even going back to some of those Bobby Bowden early 80s schedules when he went on the road to play everybody. This has been a gauntlet. And the Gators are they're 2-2 in conference, 4-3 overall.
4-3.
Yeah, they need 2 more wins, and they got Florida State on the schedule, so that's a dub.
Yep.
So all they got to do is win one of these other games, and they're going to a bowl, which I don't think anybody saw coming this year. I think he's done a great job. And
the great thing is he's got a chance here both ways. He's got the gauntlet coming up: Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss. If he can go 2-2, I think he saves his job. And you could say the opposite. If they lose 4 in a row, he probably loses his job. So he's got everything he wants is right in front of him. He's got his freshman quarterback playing, and this is a month for DJ Lagway. Again, showing some gradual improvement, throws a nice deep ball. This guy could be, if Napier were to lose his job, or even if he doesn't lose his job, he could be the highest priced free agent on the market in NIL if he plays well this next month. Don't you agree?
I totally agree, and the thought of that makes my stomach turn.
Right. No, I get it. I get it.
I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy for the players, but good God, we have got to get a hold of this system. I know that's a whole nother show for another time, but this system is just bananas. And listen, DJ Lagway and I don't know him from Adam. I've just watched his interviews. I really do sense there's a true loyalty towards Florida.
Right.
And I think if they can win 2 more games, they go 1-3 and then beat Florida State, which I think they will. Right. Florida State's awful. I know we're going to get to that. But so they go 6-6. I think Napier keeps his job, and I think they're growing with a bunch of good young players as these freshmen step up at receiver and running back at all different types of places. And his recruiting has been okay, but I think that they certainly may pick off some of FSU recruits. I don't think he's a chance to keep his job.
Right. I agree. Let's go down to Miami. 8-0. They beat the Noles very soundly over the weekend down in Miami. Is this team, the defense is still an issue. Is Cam Ward the difference maker here that can get him to a national title?
Oh, I don't think they're winning a national title. They should have 2 losses as it stands right now. So, the Cal game, it's funny, the ACC has figured out that they should use their refs to protect their top-ranked team. And they never did that for Florida State. They did the exact opposite. But suddenly they've now figured out that, you know what, if we have a top-ranked team and we have some calls that could go either way, let's give them the benefit of the doubt so they can stay in the mix. Pretty smart. But the Cal game, the targeting call, which, that gave them an opportunity to come back. That game was over if he gets that first down. That's the most obvious targeting call I think I've ever seen. And
then you got the Virginia Tech replay reversal on the Hail Mary.
Yeah. That's crazy. Honestly, I think they got the call right.
I do too.
By the letter of the law, was there anything that should have changed the call in the video? No.
Right.
No. If that was Florida State, that would have been a touchdown. Yeah, no question about it. So listen, and I gotta say, Miami's a good football team. I don't think they're a great football team. As you mentioned, their defense is completely suspect and will be exposed. But Mario Cristobal, what are you doing? Like, you see where these other programs are if you're recruiting this state, pound the desk and walk away. I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? You have not won 20 years. You've not won a single ACC title. How many years have we seen Miami jump out 7-0, 8-0 to end 8-5?
Right.
I mean, are you kidding me? You've won nothing, and you're acting like you've done something. My Lord. So you beat a really bad FSU team. Finally. Listen, mister, I don't know when to take a knee.
Right.
I think you better figure out that these things are cyclical and try to show a little bit of class. I know that's completely on brand for Miami to show no class. I get that. That's on brand. But, be a little bit smarter, because that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Trust me on that.
All right, let's go to Tallahassee again. The nightmare continues. 1-7. Finally, we see a quarterback other than DJU. But just give me a quick thought here. And again, it's a complete meltdown up there this year. Just give me a thought of what is the one or two things Norvell's got to do in this offseason, priority wise, whether it's more high school kids. Give me a coaching staff changes. Give me a thought or two of what Florida State has to do to turn this around.
Well, you can't fire the head coach. We all know that, because he's got a $62 million buyout.
Right.
There's so many parts of this that I wish I had answers for. But there's no precedent for this to be this bad so quickly. I mean, and it's not just 500 bad. You're the worst team in FBS, like the worst. Your offense is the worst. I mean, it's not even debatable. You're that bad. And you're at Florida State University with all the resources that you have. To be this bad is criminal. And I think he's got to gut the entire staff. I don't know if there's anybody on the staff that's savable. And some of those people I've known for a long, long time, and I absolutely adore, and I think they're awesome people.
Yep.
Corey Fuller, Odell Haggins, Ron Dugans. I covered those guys.
Oh yeah.
And I love them, and they're great men. They're fantastic. But this is a job, and your job is to win football games, and you can't beat anybody. And the optics are terrible. I mean, not only are you not winning games, but you look like a bunch of idiots out there. It's worse than the Taggart years, dare I say.
Yes.
And that's a fireable offense. And if we had the money to pay out, I think and the problem is Willie never won 19 games in a row.
Right.
And Willie never won an ACC championship. And Mike's done that. And it's unbelievable that the same coach that did that could not see that DJU was awful.
Right.
And for some reason thought that a bridge quarterback was a good idea. And it wasn't. And there was a terrible miscalculation on how good DJU was. And if my feeling is, if the guy if it was Cam Ward, you get him. You do the bridge quarterback thing. If it's DJU, no.
High school. Because let the freshman or sophomore play.
Right, exactly. You alienate all your recruits. If you bring in somebody like a Jared Verse who's just kicking ass, then nobody can be upset that somebody transferred in and took your job.
Right.
If you bring in Cam Ward, nobody's going to be pissed off. You bring in a mediocre quarterback who can't run and is horribly inaccurate, which is pretty much what he's been. That's a bad idea. You alienate all your players, and then it just becomes a bunch of mercenaries, and that's what it looks like. It's same thing with many other positions.
They made a lot of bad evaluations in the portal. The guys they paid that they paid a lot of money for.
And if you do that, listen, and if you bring guys in and you bring them in spring, your evaluation should be, look, if he's not, if Roydell Jones, what is his name? The Alabama
Williams, Roydell Williams. Yep.
If he's not head and shoulders above Toafili, he doesn't get the job. Like, you don't,
or the money.
You got to be loyal.
Or the money.
Right. Or the money. Yeah. I mean, one of the best things that Mike Norvell ever did, right, was before the 2022 season, there were a lot of quarterbacks that wanted to transfer into Florida State.
Right.
Max Johnson being one of them. And so Norvell had the opportunity to get a better quarterback than Jordan Travis. And Jordan had showed some flashes, but by all means was not like, okay, definitely the guy at that point, if my timeline is correct.
Yep.
But what Mike did was say, look, this is Jordan's team. They love him. He's, Max Johnson or whoever, and there were some other guys in the mix. They're not markedly better, or certainly haven't proven that they're better than Jordan Travis. So I'm going to stick with the guy I got. And that was a brilliant decision. He made Jordan better. Jordan led the way to the 10-win and the 13-win season. That was a great decision. The polar opposite of that was the DJU decision.
Yep.
And it completely broke this program. And plus the fact that, I've never seen more critical drop passes in my life. And our good friend Pat Burnham from the Osceola at my behest did a calculation of what all the drop passes, which I think there were like 22 drop passes in the first 6 games. And you can make the case, because at least 5 or 6 of those were touchdown passes that we didn't get any points out of. Those would have turned games. So FSU would likely have 3 to 4 more wins if they just caught 75% of those balls. And I've never seen anything like that in football to me. So it's just been a perfect storm. And I think last year was kind of a perfect storm. Everything went your way and you won 13. And this is the perfect storm. This is like regressing to the mean.
Right.
Everything that went your way last year has gone against you this year. And it's been a nightmare. And I think they've got a clean house with the staff. And then they've got to bring in people that know how to recruit the state of Florida. They have to know how to recruit the state of Florida. Go pay people that have recruited, that have connections with the high school coaches in the state of Florida. Rebuild your entire high school recruiting base and get back after it. And now you're going to have to go into the portal next year, but, make some good decisions and go rebuild this team quickly.
And say what you want, Jordan Travis was not the most skilled quarterback in the world, but he galvanized that locker room. Everybody played for this guy. They didn't cut corners. They didn't cheat on the habits. Their habits were because Jordan Travis was the consummate leader, and team chemistry still matters.
And there's no leaders on his team.
Right.
Jason, there's no dogs on defense. There's no leaders on defense.
When does the check clear? On the 1st and the 15th, does the check clear?
Oh, my God. There's just no leaders. There's no leaders on offense. There's no dogs on offense. Like nobody. I mean, nobody on either side of the ball.
Yep.
And I've never seen worse receivers. Can't catch the football. Offensive line is a disaster. And those are guys that have played before, which is even weirder. The defensive line that was supposed to be the best in college football, according to Nick Saban, who knows a little something about football, has been I think they've been better lately. I think they've been much better lately, but early on we're not. So yeah, what a bizarre season. And I think at this point, he finally is playing the young kids. The Amari Williams, the Brock Clans, that I think look good at times.
Yep.
Kromenhoek looked good at times. So. I wish they just would have let those 2 guys battle it out from the beginning, and then that would have galvanized the team a lot more, I think.
All right, listen to J.P. Peterson, host of the J.P. Peterson Show, Halloween edition. So remember, folks, when you guys go by JP's house and he's looking like Ron Burgundy, be nice to Ron Burgundy, and he'll give you some candy, hopefully. Be nice, all right, when you're dressed up. Halloween night here coming up here on Thursday. If you're listening before Thursday, be nice to our guy, Ron Burgundy.
John Burgundy. Here's a quick Halloween story for you. This was back in the early aughts, and Rondé was living in West Chase. We were both living in West Chase, not far from each other. And he came over to the house and was handing out candy at my house. And it was, we had a few people on the street, and like within 15 minutes, the crowd tripled. The Coconut Telegraph was on point, like, oh, Rondé Barber's handing out candy at JP's
There you
house.
go.
And there was a line down the street. So it was pretty funny.
That's great.
That's my Halloween story, my Rondé Halloween story.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right,
Yeah.
let's hit a couple quick NFL notes and I'll get you out of here. All right, give me a thought. Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose a tough one to Atlanta. I want your thought on, to me, malpractice by the National Football League and Roger Goodell. How you don't have cameras on every goal line, the most important line on the field in every game. I don't care if it's the Raiders and the Giants. Every single NFL game has to have pylon cams, cameras on the goal line. That is criminal malpractice. And if Goodell didn't write a memo this week to every network saying you will have cameras on the goal line starting Sunday, that's a major problem.
Totally agree. Totally agree. There's some crews have it, some crews don't. It all depends on not who the announce crew is, but who the production crew is. And this one, I talked to a couple of the techs, and they said, yeah, we don't have it on all the trucks, so it wasn't there. But I got to say this: there was a referee that was right at the pylon. How the hell do you miss that call?
Right.
How the hell do you miss that call? I know it looks like he's cruising into the end zone, but your job is to watch that all the way through, and you got to make that call. Because I thought live it was pretty clear, that ball came out, and I thought, I actually talked to some people, a couple buddies of mine, hammered as they were, but they could see it. They were sitting like right on the goal line in the section, where they were looking right down the goal line or close to it. And everybody in their section saw it live.
Right.
Everybody. Like you said, everybody jumped up and was pointing. They knew it. They saw it live. And so if all the drunks can see it live, why can't the referee who's standing 4 yards away, and literally 4 yards away, right there at the pylon? How do you miss that call?
I'll give him one defense. They're taught to let the play go and replay can fix it. He probably doesn't know there's not a pylon cam, to be honest with you. And again, I'm not defending what he did.
Well, replay can fix it the other way too. You should still call it like you see it.
I agree, but they do teach them.
Situations where you're not letting the play out, right? It's because it's into the end zone. The play is over. There's not, unless somebody recovers it, right? But the play is gone. It's done. So it's not like one of those, oh, the ball's live. I'm not sure if it was a fumble or not, so I'm not going to blow my whistle.
Right.
I'll let it go and then replay. This was like the whistle's already blown. You blew the call because you didn't have the guts to call it when you saw it. Yeah. And I think part of it was you just don't think that Winfield's going to make a play like that. But we've seen him do it 3 times now.
Yep.
3 times at the goal line.
No doubt. Tough loss for the Bucs. Again, give me a quick thought real quick because we're running out of time here. Give me a quick thought on Bowles and that defense.
I love Todd, as a person, a human being, and he, last year did a great job bringing his team back from 4-7, but his game management is awful. It's awful on so many levels, and his defense right now is just abysmal. And he made no adjustments from one game to the next for the Falcons. I'm really perplexed at how bad this defense is, and I don't know if he can fix it. And he's too slow to make changes. Took Funderburg out for Josh Hayes at the half, but the damage was done. 24 points on the board. Kyle Pitts looking like freaking Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Just crazy. And the fact that Cousins has 8 touchdowns against the Bucs in 2 games, and 6 touchdowns against the rest of the league in 6 games tells you all you need to know. Bowles is struggling as a play caller, and the fact that he's calling plays takes away from his game management, and he's just terrible at game management. And you could debate, should we have done the fake field goal? Okay, fine, whatever, didn't work. Should we have done the flea flicker? Okay, fine, didn't work. And I know that's more on Liam Cohen. Should we call more timeouts before the half? He still doesn't learn that. Challenges, all these things, every decision he's made, major decision he's made, has gone against him. So, but you can debate whether he should have made them, but he's losing. He's losing on all these major decisions. And I'll go back to the game where Godwin
the Monday night game, you keep Godwin in the game.
Oh my God, dude, that was ridiculous. With 6 minutes left, it's 41-18.
Yep.
You got to score 3 times and get 2 onside kicks. you have a 99% chance of losing the game. 99%.
Yep.
And you got Atlanta next week, and Mike Evans is already done. How in the hell do you have your starters in the game? I'm sorry. Yes. Do you have a chance to win? Yes. A 0.01% chance. It's not worth it. As a game manager, it's not worth it. And Mike Evans, he was hurt before the game even started.
Right.
And then he hurts his hamstring during the game, and you keep him in the game?
Right.
With Atlanta coming next week, that's coaching malpractice.
Yep.
Come on, man. That's not debatable.
And the Bucs got a good football team. The sad part is they got a great offensive team, and they can be a threat. Remember, they've beaten Philly. They've beaten Detroit. I mean, they've had some big wins.
They've beaten Washington.
Yes. I mean, they've beaten the big boys in the NFC.
Yeah. They got all the tiebreakers with these teams. And that's why I think it's worth going out on the open market, spending some draft capital, and improving your team now. Now, you got a lot of guys playing on rookie contracts because you've drafted so well. So I think you can give up a little bit of draft capital next year if you can go find an experienced inside linebacker. You got to find that because KJ Britt is awful and Levante is, father time's catching up. And if you could find somebody that maybe, can play for a few more years,
they can run it a Max Crosby, defensive end.
The pass rush or inside linebacker, and experienced receiver. I would go find two of the three. If I can get three of the three, I'll take them. Because there's guys on expiring contracts that got, teams will take 6th-round picks or 4th-round picks. I don't have a problem with that. I think this team is too good and the schedule is too soft
at the end
to not try and get in the mix. If Mike Evans comes back, there's even an outside chance that Godwin could come back for the playoffs. I got to take that chance if I'm Jason Light. I'm getting on the phone and I'm trying to make some moves this week to shore up the weaknesses because defensively they need help. They need lots of help. And, offensively, I think they could use an experienced receiver.
Remember the trade deadline's next Tuesday is the election, so make sure you go vote next Tuesday as well. A lot of stuff going on Tuesday. JP Peterson, great job, man. Tell the fans real quick where they can find your show online if they're outside of the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, you can listen up 10 to 12 each and every day. JP Peterson Show. Just Google it. You'll see it. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can watch it there. You can go to fanstreamsports.com, our parent company, and you can watch it there as well. So lots of different places, and please like and subscribe. And obviously as a podcast on Apple and Spotify, if you don't catch it in the morning, you can listen anytime, anywhere. So check it out.
Appreciate you joining me, man. Safe travels.
Anytime, brother.
For doing this.
Awesome
job. Trick or treat. Happy Halloween. Tell the missus we said hello and have a great week.
Got it. Peace out, as Ron Burgundy would say.